Good day to you. This is the third presentation doing for this day. This is Dr. Dennis L. Waters Sr. This is the Restore Executive Life and Leadership Coaching and Consulting podcast. And we call it that, and then also the I Will Restore broadcast as well. Those are two companies. We are part of the Restore Executive Life and Leadership Coaching and Consulting. I Will Restore is a nonprofit that we work with, and also there's also Spirit, Victory, Praise, Transformational Leadership Institute, and Spirit of Victory and Praise International Spiritual Center that we work with. And all of those have the intent of helping you realize that you are a God being on this earth, living here, bringing forth the real you, bringing forth the real you that you are, the person that has emanated, come forth, been incarnated in this earth, God coming, the real you, the you that you have been before the foundation of the earth. And so that whole piece is what this is all about. It is our conviction that God formed you, and like Jeremiah, that this whole experience that we have is connected with this whole idea that just as God said to Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and that I ordained you, or I had a purpose for your life before you were even formed in the womb. And as a matter of fact, in the book of Psalms, the 139th division, the Bible says that the entire life of an individual was written before that person had even lived one day of that life. So there's a life that is divine, if you will, a life that is intended, if you will. There's a life that has been written before a person has even lived that one moment of time, before that person has even been conceived. And it is in that person's best interest to live in accordance with that life. And so when we talk about the 8 A's, it's awakening, if you will, becoming aware, if you will, to that particular life. And so this is what we're talking about when we speak of becoming your authentic self, the journey that an individual takes to awaken to that life and then to live in accordance with that life. And so the 8 A's becomes the awareness, the acceptance, the assurance, the adoration, the celebration really of that realization. And then we're going to do the music for the life coming forth now for the final 4 of the 8 A's, the final 4. And this is just the music that we have that is associated with this, and just the music. So we're going to follow with association, assignment, accountability, and assimilation. Now, it's vital to understand that when we speak of awareness, there's this idea that came forth with begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. And when we speak of the 8 A's, the 8 A's is like an octave. An octave. You remember that when a person graduates from high school or from any program, they often begin with they often come forth with what is called a commencement. Well, you know, the word commencement means to begin again. You end one thing and then you go forth and you begin something new. And that's what a commencement is. It's the ending of one thing and beginning of something new. And awareness is also the same as a new beginning. And so when we have the awareness experience, then that's the both at a point where you see the ending of an experience. So awareness and assimilation are very much the same thing. You see at the beginning what the end is going to be. You don't start until you've ended. You don't start until you end it. And when you end, you start again. Awareness and assimilation. An octave. 7 and then the 8th. 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 You begin and then you end. And then you begin that whole thing. Or you take a breath, and then when you exhale, you take another breath. You take a breath, breathe in, and you let it out, and then you take another breath. That's called living. And so the 8 A's, the Alpha and the Omega. And so we're going to go forth at this particular point, and we're going to begin right after we've done already the adoration, and now we're going to do association. That's the 5th A. Now, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready in regard to this, and we're going to do the 8th A. And this is music that goes with the 5th A. It's called association. Now, the fifth A deals with association. Association is really another word for community. And the whole aspect is that you've begun a new experience, a new living. And association, it says association of allies are believers in the same vision on the journey. And so you've got a new community, a new orcos, people who think alike, like to be together. And they are going to the same destination, which is each one is becoming his or her authentic self. And so you have a new association, a new community that you are in alignment with. And you're moving forward to become each one who he or she really is. And as a result of that, it's almost like putting together the pieces of a puzzle, and you find that you fit with a group of individuals, a community, a family, a universal family, really. That's why we call it Spirit of Victory and Praise International Spiritual Center, because you'll discover that by the law of attraction, you naturally go to the place that you are able to fit into, uniquely you able to fit into. And that's both in regard to your own self. You'll find that each part of your body fits exactly where it needs to fit. And then each part of the body fits exactly where it needs to fit. And that there is a unique place, a unique contribution that each person actually contributes to the body. And that's what we call systems thinking. System thinking is that everybody has his or her place, his or her role, his or her responsibilities, and that when each person fulfills his or her role, responsibilities are carried out, and that they are doing what they are called to do, each one is doing what he or she is called to do, then that individual body actually functions at peak performance. And that's a wonderful thing. So that is the aspect of association, is to recognize that when you're in the right body, in the right place within that body, that you are able to have that you fit. You fit. And when you fit, you are fruitful, you're fulfilled. There's a feeling about being in the right place. And so we're building bodies. We're building bodies. As I said, we've got Restore Executive Life and Leadership Coaching and Consulting. We train coaches. We have jobs that we actually do in regard to that. We're working on a number of things. We are actually helping individuals who discover their own individual gifts and everything like that, and providing assignments for them in regard to that. So we're excited about that whole thing. And then, as I said, we have Spirit, Victory, and Praise, Transformational Leadership Institute, a university, and we actually go through a whole process where we have college courses, and we actually train individuals in a number of fields. Our particular focus, we are dealing with spiritual things that train them. And the foundation of it is that we deal with the aspect of spiritual things, or things, so that we understand the spiritual foundation and how much of life is that which has a spiritual foundation. Well, in my estimation, all of life has a spiritual foundation, but it's manifested in this physical world. It all has a spiritual foundation, but it's manifested in this spiritual world. And so the kingdom of God, or the kingdom of heaven, is still here. And you say, well, where is it? Well, the same place that air is. Same place that air is. It's on a nano level, quantum level. It's deeper than even a cellular level. And so it's higher than even a cellular level. And so this whole aspect of understanding that, but it's becoming clearer and clearer. Individuals are understanding the value of mindfulness and all of these things, meditation, all of those used to be the realm of what one would call religion or spirituality, but it's becoming clear and clear that there's a necessity for these things to take place in what we consider to be the normal or physical world, because they're beginning to understand that having proper mental health is important. And mental health is important for who? Everybody. Young people are in need of proper mental health. Why? Because we recognize that they are in need of it because of what's happening in society today. Social media is, people are looking on social media and finding people in all kinds of circumstances in life. And then the more they look at it, they find that they begin to identify with that. And the various things on cable television and stuff like that People are finding various things that they're looking at, and they're beginning to look at it over and over and over again. And what they don't look at, what they don't know is that the more you look at stuff, the more you begin to prescribe it to yourself. And you subscribe, when you subscribe, then you prescribe to yourself, and you begin to take on the characteristics of the people that are the things that you keep looking at. And so for an individual to keep looking at destruction by others and destruction of others, it doesn't matter if it's a video game or not. It doesn't matter if it's something that happened so many years ago or not. It doesn't matter if it's an animation or something like that or not. And an individual can look at it and say, well, I only identify with the heroes or with the sheroes or whatever. But the truth of the matter is that an individual may look and look and look and look, and they are taking in both the sheroes and the villains, the protagonists and the antagonists. And one needs to know how to navigate that space in between so that they are taking it in and knowing how to actually stay on the right side, if you will. Because there can sometimes be a very real situation where they need to choose. And not everybody who is considered the hero to one set of people is a hero to another set of people. So it becomes very, very important that a person have a foundation that they are working with so they can decide who is, not a group of other individuals who are deciding who is. Because sometimes to be a hero to one group of people, you got to be somebody who's a villain, if you will, or an antagonist to another group of people. Because there are people who cheer when other people are hurt, wounded, and everything like that. And so, association, it is how you find your place in a community. And one of the main things that's important is to understand when we speak of community, we're speaking of emotional intelligence, we're speaking of cultural competency, we're speaking of one global humanity where everybody has a place, everybody has a space. We're all here. We're all children of the one God. We're all here. God has God's own plan for each life. The Constitution of the United States of America says we're all endowed by the one Creator with certain inalienable rights. Inalienable rights. And so it's important. You belong here, as does every you that there is. You belong here. You're here. You're on this earth. You're not an alien. You're on this earth, born here, and you have a set of rights. And there's a reason you're here. So there's an assignment that you have now that you're here. And so the next A is assignment. Now, it was assignment. And one of the keys about all of this is to find out and understand what is your assignment. It goes along with the vision that you've had. You have a purpose for being here. There's a reason that you are here. And to look at it and find out and to know what your purpose really is, to know that you belong, you know what the reason that you've been here, why you're here, your contribution that you are to make, either as an individual or as part of a community, that association that you're a part of. And each person, whether it's as an individual or as a part of a community, and it is likely both, that you, in that assignment, as you carry out that assignment, you are changing the world. You're changing the world. We are all evolving. We're all becoming. And the assignment may not be just simply that you just stand out in the group and that you're out in front, so to speak, before the world at all times. There just may be a moment where, like, there was a time in playing a football. I remember that the longest football field goal that had ever been kicked, and I think the record is broken now, but had ever been kicked, was kicked by a man. I believe he had been born with one half of a foot. And it was some like 63 yards or something like that. It was like 60 plus yards. I believe the man played for, at the time, the Detroit Tigers, I believe. It may have been the Tigers. That may have been the Detroit Lions, I believe was the football team. Tigers, I believe, was the baseball team. But it was so many years ago. And he kicked that field goal. All of his life, he may have been going through, and people may have been bullying him and everything else in regard to that particular the shape of his foot and everything like that. But that day, he was a hero. That day, and there are so many places in life where you get that one moment in time, as the young lady would sing about. Give me that one moment in time where I'm more than I thought I would be. One moment in time. And that whole piece in regard to that, that's the assignment. And you practice and practice and practice for that one moment in time. Recently, the great Serena Williams decided that she would no longer play. I think she should play, but I'm not her coach. I'm not her body either. But she decided that she is going to retire from playing tennis, and that's a good decision for her. But that's what she was born to do, was to play tennis. And so there are others that are coming forth. That's their assignment. The key is to know what your assignment is and to carry that out. You're a piece of this humanity, a person in this humanity. And so the assignment, what is it? Because again, as we've said before, you're the only one of you that we have at this moment in time. And we want to encourage you. We want to celebrate you carrying out your assignment in this life. And so that was the music for that. And that's a very, I don't know what the term we would use, but that particular music is very interesting. It's serious music for me. It's like it is there done as if an individual is carrying out his or her particular assignment. And I want you to consider that. If you don't know what your assignment is, then we've got some material that we can share with you at admin at real-coach, rel-coach, coach.com, and we can send this. And we want to encourage you to help us in regard to this. You can send us an email at info at iwillrestore.com, info at iwillrestore.com. That's a nonprofit. And we want to be helped in regard to helping others. And then, as I said before, we've got a university in regard to helping individuals. They can take courses, you can take courses, and we want to educate you in regard to becoming more of your authentic self. We've got one particular course that deals with actually becoming your authentic self. That's the whole piece in regard to that. And much of what we say in regard to what we're doing here has to do with that particular course as well. because we know, as we've said, that individuals, there are soldiers who are taking their lives, and we're concerned about that. We pray about that. We affirm that we're whole, perfect, and complete. And so part of that completeness is living your life, and carrying out your assignment in life. I believe that carrying out a person's mission will help them to move away from madness. So, carrying out your person's mission will help a person move away from what they consider to be sickness or anything else in regard to that. Actually, it has been proven by research that a person prolongs their life when they have something that they are assigned to do. And so, it's vital that a person actually begins to understand that they are important to the rest of society. All of us need you. We need you to carry out your assignment. The next A is accountability. Accountability, that to the community that you're a part of, you are also accountable to that community. We need you, and we need you to be accountable for your responsibilities. And so the seventh A is that of accountability. Remember, we've had the first six A's already: awareness, acceptance, assurance, adoration, association, and then assignment. That was the 6A, and now we're going to do the 7A. These are the musical pieces that I've put together. My name is Reverend Dr. Dennis L. Waters Sr., and this is the 7A, the musical piece that goes with it. And as I said, they can be used for meditation, and you can put one of these items on in such a way that you just meditate. And meditation is that you step into the silence. We actually have an item that talks about stepping into the silence and how you do that. I've got a couple of items, and you have to find out which one is best for you. But stepping into the silence, one of the items talks about giving yourself enough time to do it. That can be anywhere from 5 to 45 minutes or longer if you choose. And then the whole breathing thing that goes along with that, or the breathing process, where you breathe in and take a deep breath, exhale, breathe in, hold it, exhale. And so you do that. You can do it with or without music. And I'm talking about doing it with music. And then there is a process by which an individual does this, and that they seek to pay attention to, in their imagination, in their mind, to what is called the pineal gland. And the item that I have that speaks about that is dealing with the aspect of the pineal gland. That's spelled, if I'm saying that correctly, I believe it's spelled Pineal. And the pineal gland, the item that I read, and I'm not saying that this is actually, as they say, the gospel truth or the scientific proof, anything like this. This is an item that I read, which I'll gladly share with you if you send me an email at info@iwillrestore.com, or info@iwillrestore.org, or admin at rel-coach, .com. And so you send me the email out and say, just, I like that item on the pineal gland, going into the silence, something to that effect. But it talked about the location of this particular gland, and how that going into the silence is facilitated by that, because there's a specific benefit that you get from going into the silence. Neville Goddard speaks of going into the silence, and as I said, there are two items that I have, and I've mentioned this because I practice it, and I'm not claiming to be a professional when it comes to this aspect of getting it exactly right. But I've gotten it to the point that I've been doing this meditation for about 10 years now, and I still feel like a novice when it comes to this. I can teach it and everything else in regard to that. I've got benefits from it, from all of these things that I'm talking about. And I want every individual to be responsible for him or herself. So I just want to make that very clear. And I'll do a teaching on meditation as well, but I still want every individual to be responsible for him or herself when it comes to anything that I'm teaching, anything that I'm talking about. I've seen individuals healed. I've participated in that. I've seen individuals get rich, relatively rich, and I've participated in that. I've seen wonderful, what a person would call miracles. I know what it is to move from, as they say, rags to riches. I know what it, see it as far as generations are concerned. I tell people, I hear people talk, and their parents started businesses, and then their parents did all kinds of other things, and they talk about generational wealth. I'm my parent, I'm the person doing it, and I'm the generation that follows. I'm all of that. So, and I'm glad about it. And I got children of my own and grandchildren. I know all about it. That thing is wonderful. Um, but I still want you to be responsible. I tell my children I want them to be responsible. Our grandchildren, same thing. It's all new. And each person has to go through the process. And it's so wonderful to watch each person go through the process. And so accountability to oneself and to one's community. All of that becomes just wonderful, because to be responsible for yourself, that's to be an adult, is to be also a young person responsible. So something wonderful in regard to this. Here's accountability. Listen to it. It's something that's very good, very good, very good. Doing this myself and just enjoying the music myself, had my eyes closed, and meditating with it myself, just rolling with it. And I hope you were able to do the same thing. If not, at that particular moment, I hope you'll come back and do it for yourself. That's just a nice piece of music to me. And there may be all kinds of words that you use in regard to that, and I hope that you will come back and just listen to it again. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons that I am doing this particular item in regard to this, is so that you can have this music. I did it a few weeks ago, I guess maybe over a month ago, and I just loved it. I shared it with my coaching team, the individuals that I coach, and they were thrilled about it, and I'm thrilled about it. Just blessed by this particular set of music. And as we do meditations and things of that nature, we've just been extremely blessed by it. And so, as we go along, as we say, we have this item that I've shared with them. It's the initials are KIAH, and then the other set of initials is KASS. So let's begin with KASS. KASS. Um, know, announce, say, state. I believe I've got that exactly right in regard to that. So this comes out of a set of readings that we do with individuals. There are books that we study, items that we're working with in regard to that, and we have it all written down. When we speak of the aspect of the whole aspect of individuals that we work with and things that we carry out in regard to persons, there are books that we work with individuals using when it comes to what we're doing. And part of those books, and I may be off the line at the moment here in regard to this, so I walked out of the room and I'm trying to make sure that I give you the right information in regard to what we're doing. So let me go back and make sure that I'm online in regard to what I'm doing. But I'm trying to make sure that I get the letters correct in regard to this. It is know, announce, state, say, and state. I believe I know it's state, speak and state. But that has to do with when you have this vision that you have in your mind, this vision that you meditated on, you stepped into the silence, you looked at, that you are to know it. So you let it sink down. When it comes to meditation, you don't force something to come forth, but you have a written plan, if you will. We talk about the aspect of desire, definite, and then you have the aspect it's divinely intended for you, and then you have the aspect that you sit in you bring about this aspect of seeing it in the fourth dimension, and that's what we're talking about here. And after you've done that, you move it to the point where you know it, you announce it, you say it, and then you state it. And state means more than just speaking it with your mouth. You know it. You know it. And once you know it, you never allow yourself to speak discouraging about it. You talk and act as if it were impossible for you to fail. Why? Because God is your partner. Remember, the Christ said, I can do nothing of myself, but the Father does the work in me, does the work through me, does the work as me. Well, you are that Christ, God in you. The kingdom of God is within you. You are that Christ now. And so it's the bringing forth of that work that we're talking about in regard to that. So it's not just you, it's Christ working in you, through you, as you, that is taking place. That's what's taking place here. And so the KIAH is know it already happened in the spiritual dimension. Now, you may say, well, where do you get that from today? Well, truthfully, this is the same thing that happens when it comes to Einstein's theory of relativity. His theory of relativity is just spirituality spoken in a scientific form. That's all it is. That's how they sent a man to the moon. That's how they sent a rover to Mars. That's how a architect and a draftsman and builders build bridges and over spans of valleys and hills or whatever it may be. That's how they do it all. They know it already happened. An architect and a builder working together put something that was not seen, never seen before, and they bring it forth and build it. They know it already happened. Before they begin, they have already finished. That's what they do. All these rockets you've seen that are going forth and the cars that are being built and all this kind of stuff, know it already happened. They find investors in everything else, know it already happened. They go out and start talking about this, that, and the other, know it already happened. They begin to talk about it, and I tell people all that is happening down in Jackson, Mississippi, I think it is, know it already happened. Know it already happened. Know it already happened. So if they're doing it, why not you? If they're doing it, why not me? Know it already happened. Will they have naysayers that come around? Yes, but you get away from those naysayers and keep them away from you. Keep them away from anybody. I don't care that is close to you or whatever. Get them away from you. You get away from them. Spend as little time as possible anywhere near naysayers. Even if it means you have to spend more time alone with yourself and God, God bless you. Get away from them. That's why you can have more time for meditation, more time with God. Know it already happened. Spend more time, more energy, all of that kind of stuff. More time. Don't listen to negative music. I was listening the other day to, I think it was on the Beats. The fellow named Ari, I believe, Melber. And he had this fellow named, I don't necessarily listen to a particular kind of music all the time. There may be others that do it. I have nothing against it. There's music, I listen to music, so I'm just going to give this away. But he had this DJ Khalid, I believe his name. If I've got that wrong, forgive me, DJ Khalid, forgive me, Ari. I listen to the news, look at the news, that kind of stuff in regard to that. But he was talking about there was a number one hit song, hit album, uh, in the country, I guess, that kind of stuff. And he mentioned that the music, and I think he mentioned Jay-Z and others who were coordinating, collaborating on this particular music. And he was talking about the various things that were on that particular music, and that particular album. And he mentioned a number of things in regard to that and said that the music itself was inspirational. I think the first album, the first cut or track on that particular, it was DJ Khaled said God did, and he was saying that God did his entire career and bringing it forth in regard to that. And basically, if I understood him correctly, he also said that when he recognized that God did, and that Jay-Z was talking to a group of individuals in his that listened to him and talked to him. Now, please understand. Let me tell you this. So I'm a minister and stuff like that, but there's a record. There are individuals I listen to in all kinds of music. I think. Jay-Z did this song, him and this lady whose name is Alicia Keys, about New York, New York. I don't know how many times I listened to that particular song. I cannot tell you how many times I listened to that song. I thought it was the grandest of all songs. In an earlier time, there was this fella that you might know. He did a song. What was his name? Bob Marley. He did a song. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. I thought that was one of the most wonderful songs I had ever heard. It took me a while just to understand what in the world it was saying, but that's me in regard to that. So I've been a number of places. I've listened to a lot of stuff. I listen to people. I tell people when I was in Germany, used to listen to an individual called Curtis Mayfield. You may not know that because you're younger than I am. But at any rate, I listen to music. My mother played the piano. My sisters played the piano. And I listen to music. So that whole piece in regard to that. So that's who I am. DJ Khalid played this particular music, made this particular music. He said God did. And I listened to that music. I remember this, I think it was this fellow, Michael Jackson. I think it was, I may be wrong, but he talked about the aspect of looking at the man in the mirror, or talking to the man in the mirror. That's an important song. that you can pay attention to when it comes to these kinds of things. And he's talking about the same thing that I'm talking about as well. If you want change, look at the person in the mirror. And that's what this is about as well. And so look at the person in the mirror can change the entire world. That's the same thing as becoming your authentic self. So all of those things are the same to me. And so that's what we're looking at. We want the world to be better. Begin with the self. Begin with the self. That's awareness. Begin with the self. And so he was talking about the aspect that Jay-Z was talking about, perhaps his earlier days. I don't know Jay-Z or anything else in regard to that. I've seen the movie that deals with the Magnificent Seven, I think it was, some kind of aspect of that. Denzel was in one called The Magnificent Seven. This was somewhat similar to that. And I saw the role of that particular thing. Very good movie, that whole piece. Individuals who are doing things, I hear about their help in helping other artists and things like that. I commend that particular stuff. I'm thrilled about that. Any good that you do in the world, I want to celebrate it. I celebrate it. So that's what I'm doing. And this particular thing that I'm doing, I celebrate it for real as well. And so the last item that we're talking about is assimilation. What is assimilation? Assimilation is this whole aspect that you go through this process and you recognize that what you begin at awareness, you've come to the commencement of that, and you've realized what you started. You realize what you started. It doesn't mean that you've finished it all, but you've arrived at a point that you know it's all finished. You know it's all finished. You know it's done. It could happen in a minute, in a moment. In the book of Revelation, you remember that experience that John the Revelator is on the Isle of Patmos, and this Christ, this being shows up. And John wants to know who is this being because he's there, he's by himself, and he sees a being that is there, and he wants to know. And the being, when he speaks, he says, I am Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. And that being is the Son of Man and the Son of God. He is both. And so you are. So I am. Awareness and assimilation. 8 A's, Alpha and Omega. Here's assimilation. This is a true rest. come to the end of this, I want to encourage you to indeed take this rest. Want to encourage you to indeed take this rest. And just remember that they are 8 days, they are continuous, they are an octave. You end, you begin. You end, you begin. You breathe in, take a deep breath. Allow that breath to circulate throughout your entire body, on every level of your body, every cell. Send it through. The same with a thought. Breathe deeply. Allow the air, the oxygen to go throughout the body so that the oxygen flows through. The carbon dioxide is removed from the body on the exhale. The blood is oxygenated. And so this is what we call living. This is what we call being. And all of that is made possible by what we call mind. That is within you. That is you. Mind, which is indeed the divine mind, God, Spirit. And that you're here on purpose, with a purpose, and you are the purpose that you are here to bring about something new, something that has never been before, something that's God intended. And so we're excited at Restore Executive Life and Leadership Coaching and Consulting because there is this whole aspect of healing that we speak of. And healing begins with a mind that recognizes its own divine purpose, its own divine beingness, identity, its own, however you want to script that, whether you do it psychologically, whether you do it with that I have something that I'm here to do, or whether you connect that with just that I have something to do. There's a reason that I'm here, or there's something I want to accomplish. And it may be who you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have, whatever. Give yourself a reason, an intention. I will do this. I will have that. Give yourself a reason that's positive and beneficial, not just to yourself, but to others. Stretch yourself wider than anything. And I say this aspect of being a beneficial presence in this earth, something that contributes not only to yourself or to that which you place a possessive pronoun before, but also to something that will live long after you have been on this earth and will reach far wider than anything that you can call mine or that you can claim ownership to. And I think that's a worthy cause. It's called being significant. Significant. And so that's what we're working with in regard to the things that we're doing. It's so much bigger than any of us. So much bigger. I invite you again, our email address, admin, ADMIN, at real, REL, dash in the middle, coach, COACH. And you can actually join us in working together in a variety of ways. We take coachees, individuals, and the first thing we want to do is actually give you a planner so that you can write down what we've just spoken about. What is your purpose? What is your vision? What is it that you have in mind that you want to do in life? That's the first thing we want to make sure that you're clear on so that we know how to work with you and how. And it doesn't matter where you are in life, whether you are a person who wants to look at life coaching or business coaching or an organizational consulting. We go through a process as you work because the organization is just really a group of individuals who are working together. We work with the executives to talk about how it is that they can look at their organization as a unit, which means as a one unit working together. And we begin with those who are at the head of the organization to consider how it is that they come about and have a strategic plan so that they know where they are and they know where they want to go in the future, and then hold themselves accountable for moving forward in regard to that. We can do such things as a human resource strategic planning. We can talk about the aspect of any department and go through a process and work together with that particular department in regard to that. There's a process to be done in regard to that. So to make it work together, we can do life planning for an individual as long as that individual is willing to be someone who is willing to go through a process and be accountable. And we can do it to the point that we do it both in a qualitative way and do it also in regard to a quantitative way. So it's got to give you the return on your investment, because it's taken a long time to go to school and everything like that so that I can have this conversation with you. So it's got to be something that's beneficial to you and something that's beneficial in regard to the organization as far as time and expense and everything like that. And so we work with. And then, as I said, we train individuals to be able to help the world, help themselves and help the world. So we have a process that we work in regard to that. We want it to work because we want the world to work. We are working with people speak of having heaven on earth, and they are dependent upon the Spirit of God bringing about that or bringing it to the earth. Well, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying it's something that's in the inevitable. But my hope, my belief is that we can indeed have heaven on earth or heaven like paradise on earth. It's up to us to bring it about. As a matter of fact, I like that idea better. We have to bring it about. And it's something that first begins in the mind, in the heart of the individual, in the mind, in the heart. That's actually one thing, in the subconscious mind of the individual. And the more individuals who come to the point that they have it in their individual mind, the wider it will be. The more individuals that come to the point that they recognize that they are taking the journey from awareness to assimilation, the wider, the better it will be on this earth. And the more people that do that, the more people, wider will be it all over the earth. And so let's cover the earth with the 8 A's. Let's cover the earth with the 8 A's and help people move from awareness to assimilation. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.